morning. Welcome to our November 12th meeting of the Paulding County School Board. I'd like to call the meeting to order. In addition to our board members here, we are joined by our parliamentarian and board attorney, Mr. Tom Cable, and our superintendent, Steve Barnett. Would like to start our meeting. We are blessed today with having Joey Meeks from the Paulding County Sheriff's Department come and lead us in our invocation. If everyone would please stand.
Again, it's so good to be here this morning. We appreciate the opportunity. And I was using this past Sunday in the book of Jude, it said, having compassion, making a difference. And, you know, I sat and thinking when they asked me to come about the educators in my early life that really made a difference. And so I'm encouraging today to take that verse to heart to really make a difference. Let's pray. Father, we love you. We thank you for the many blessings. Pray that you'd just lead, guide today, Father. We pray for each educator, Father, each board member, Father. I pray that you'd touch them. I pray that you'd bless them. I pray that you'd build a huge hedge of protection around them, Father. Praying today for the children. I pray, Lord, that a lot are in broken homes and having problems, Father, but we pray that you just touch. And, Lord, we pray that our Paulding County schools, Father, I pray that it'll be a safe haven for them. A place, Lord, that they come to learn, Father, but a place that they come, Lord, to learn how to grow up. We want to love you. We want to thank you and praise you for who you are. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Amen.
If you will remain standing, I'd like for real quick to do a quick bio. We are joined today by Kendrick Scott. Kendrick grew up in Paulding County. We love it when our Paulding County students stay with us. He attended Union Elementary, Jones Middle, and Paulding County South Paulding High Schools. Graduated from South Paulding High School in 2008. After graduating from South Paulding High School, Kendrick returned to serving his community, working as a deputy sheriff and a school resource officer with the Paulding County Sheriff's Office. Driven to work with students and staff, he moved to the role at the Douglas County School District School Police as a school resource officer before returning home to Paulding County to join our team as a school safety officer in July of 2024. Thank you so much for being here. If you will lead us in our pledge.
All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So, Officer Scott, before you leave, can we embarrass you a little bit more? So, you had something that happened a few weeks ago that we want to kind of acknowledge and commend you for. In fact, you've already received, I think, a formal commendation from the department. But we want to read that this morning and just remind the board and the community what you did, and just take a minute just to say thank you for that. So I'm going to read the letter here that came from Mike Ruppel, our Executive Director of Safety and Security, who would be here today, but he's actually out of town in training. So Mr. Ruppel wrote on October 16th, I am writing to formally commend Officer Kendrick Scott for his remarkable and life-saving actions on October 14th, 2024 at Crossroads Middle School. Officer Scott's swift response and exceptional execution of the Heimlich maneuver successfully saved a student's life during a critical emergency. On that day, a student began to choke during afternoon dismissal. While the student's guardian attempted to dislodge the item, they called out for help. Officer Scott quickly answered this call for aid, assessed the situation, and took charge, demonstrating not only his training, but also his courage and composure under pressure. By performing the Heimlich maneuver with precision and confidence, Officer Scott was able to dislodge the obstruction, allowing the student to breathe again. This act of bravery reflects the highest standards of service and dedication that Officer Scott exemplifies. His quick thinking not only saved a life, but also provided reassurance to students, staff, and other present, reminding us all of the importance of preparedness and the impact one individual can have in an emergency. We are incredibly grateful to have Officer Scott as a part of our community. His commitment to safety and well-being exemplifies the values we hold dear, and we are proud to recognize his heroic actions. Thank you, Officer Scott, for your dedication and for making a difference in the lives of others. So, thank you. turn around and look, there might be a couple of folks here in this room that you weren't expecting. I told you we were going to embarrass you real good, right? I was honest. And so we're going
to have a mom who's a real big fan.
We're going to get a picture here in just a second. I know Jason Freeman's going to come up and just kind of introduce some of the folks in the room and take a moment to thank you as well. So
yeah, I'm actually going to let them introduce themselves. If you guys will just remain standing and just obviously they say behind every great man there's an even greater woman. So you guys.
Hey, I'm Tribunal Scott. This is my husband, Kendrick.
Hey.
I'm Lois Meyer, and I'm the mom that this is Ella. She was the one that was choking my day. That's the parents' worst nightmare. And I tried to help her, and I couldn't get it out. And so I just started screaming for help. And luckily, Crossroads Middle School was fantastic. Their staff came running, and Officer Scott, he just came out of nowhere, and I don't even know how it happened. I just handed her off and just stood there with panic. But he did an amazing job, and we're just so grateful for him.
Awesome. Thank you. We're blessed with a lot of great people in the Safety and Security Department, and certainly super blessed that we got Officer Scott with us. And we also have in the back Mr. Tom Alderson, the principal at Crossroads, joined us this morning to recognize Officer Scott. And then our two lead safety officers, Karen Herrick and Eric Pace, are here this morning as well. So thank you, Officer Scott. Appreciate you very much. Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, let's grab a picture, yeah.
Everybody move this way as much as you can. Officer Scott, just have you in the middle. Okay. Just call it. Everybody slide this way just a little bit. Mr. Chester, this one slide this way. This one. Rail right here. I heard it right in. There we go. There we go. Okay. You can see everybody. All right, everybody, big smiles. One more. Great, thank you so much.
All right, thank you again so much. We are now at a point where we need to adopt our proposed agenda for the meeting. Do I have a motion?
Second.
So moved by Mr. Nolan, second by Mr. Chester. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor? And it is unanimous. All right. We also now need to approve the minutes from our regular session meeting on October the 22nd. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Chester.
Second.
Is that Mr. Clayton? Second by Mr. Clayton. Any discussion? All in favor? And it is unanimous. We are now at our superintendent's report. It's your turn.
All right, well, good morning again, everyone, and just a few things I was going to mention this morning before we get into our quarterly reports. The first being, if you didn't know already, the Georgia Department of Education recognizes November as Family Engagement Month in Georgia, so it was fitting that to take a second and just to thank our principal, Dr. Christy Carson, the staff of PB Rich Middle School, student supports, and many others for planning, organizing, and volunteering for our event called Tools to Support Your Student. That was held at PB Rich Middle School last Wednesday, In addition to information on academic opportunities, there were sessions on internet and social media safety, wellness, and human trafficking, including a few of the presenters there on the screen, where you see Lindsay Lane, who spoke on human trafficking, Solicitor General Luana Nolan, who discussed common laws broken by teenagers, and Lindsay Harris, a counselor at North Paulding High School, and she spoke on managing stress. So I just wanted to say thank you again to the staff and all the folks who put that together, and all those who were able to come out that evening. Thank you also to the schools that participated in Red Ribbon Week, which is the nation's largest and longest-running drug use prevention campaign. All Paulding County schools, as well as the central office, participated, with proceeds going to Hope for Christmas. And just want to take a second to thank all of our drug use prevention partners, including the Paulding County Board of Commissioners, and their commitment to the Alcohol and Drug Awareness Program. In fact, next Friday, we will have that program out at Burnt Hickory Elementary School. So wanted to thank them, the Paulding County Sheriff's Office for the DARE program, Family Alliance for Paulding County, and their work with Drug-Free Paulding, and of course, Paulding Family Connections. Also wanted to recognize this morning 3 Paulding County schools: East Paulding Middle School, Samuel McClure Middle School, and Paulding County High School. They have been named Math Leader Schools by the Georgia Department of Education. The schools were recognized for achievement or growth in the percentage of students scoring at the proficient learner level or above in mathematics. The new award was created to recognize schools for performing in meeting the new Georgia K-12 mathematics standards implemented during the 23-24 school year. East Paulding Middle School and Paulding County High School were recognized for growth in mathematics, while McClure Middle School was recognized for both achievement and growth. In the coming week, State Superintendent Richard Woods will visit these schools and present the Math Leader Award to those individual schools. So congratulations to them. And then I wanted to just mention quickly, our next meeting will be on November 19th for our board, for a regular board meeting. It starts at 5:30. This Thursday, November 14th, is a joint board meeting, which will be held at the new Senior Center starting at 8:30 a.m. I wanted to wish our football programs best of luck this Friday. They made the first round of playoffs, 3 of them, at North Paulding. They will be in Lowndes County. Hiram High School will be at Kell, and East Paulding High School will host Effingham County. Again, that's this Friday, November the 15th, so best of luck to those teams. And congratulations to all those who recently won their election, but especially to the members of our Board of Education. District 1 member Teresa Lyons is now entering her, if I have this right, 5th term on the school board. An extraordinary accomplishment. District 3 member Adam Clayton, this is his 2nd term. District 4 member Debbie Collette, this is her 2nd term. And our at-large member, Mr. Fuller, Jeff Fuller, this is his 3rd term on the board. So congratulations. And I also just want to mention Veterans Day there on the screen and say thank you to all of our schools that recognized Veterans Day yesterday in such creative, unique, and respectful ways. Their thoughtful tributes to our veterans reflected their gratitude, and it was an honor that those individuals richly deserved. And what you're looking at there are some pictures, I believe, from East Paulding High School in the event we had there. So I just want to say thank you to all those schools, and also recognize our veterans today. And so that's a good segue into something else.
Yes, in honor of Veterans Day, we have the Paulding Board of Education would like to present a proclamation. Whereas the citizens of Paulding County, the state of Georgia, and the United States of America live in freedom because of the contributions and personal sacrifices made by those who have served and those currently serving in the armed forces. And whereas we remember with somber and grateful hearts the men and women who have served in the military with distinction and valor as soldiers, Marines, sailors, airmen, Coast Guardmen, and guardians. And whereas we offer our sincere prayers for those who continue to defend the ideals of liberty and justice on which our nation was founded. And whereas we endeavor to honor the contributions and sacrifices of all those who have, over the centuries, served in the military, and the tens of thousands currently serving at home and abroad. And now there it be resolved that the Paulding County Board of Education hereby recognizes the veterans of yesterday, today, and tomorrow. They are deserving of our admiration, and their sacrifices serve as a constant reminder that freedom is not free. We proclaim our deepest appreciation to those who wear the uniforms of the United States Armed Forces and serve our nation to preserve freedom and liberty, adopted this 12th day of November 2024 by the Paulding County Board of Education.
If you'll take a motion.
Yes, I need a motion to
So moved.
to approve our proclamation.
Second.
That was, the motion was made by Mr. Nolan and seconded by Mr. Clayton. All those in favor? It is approved.
Madam Chairman?
Yes,
Do we
ma'am.
have any veterans in the room?
We do
We
have
do.
veterans in the room.
On the ends.
Can we acknowledge them?
We would, if you're a veteran, please stand. Thank you. Thank you so much for your service.
Madam Chair, we will now move into the operational and organizational excellence section with your permission. And we have two quarterly updates this morning. Really, we're presenting again the reports. They're just got a couple folks here who are going to talk about some highlights from those reports. They are available. They're attached to the agenda, and I will actually make sure the board gets emailed a copy. I'm not sure I do that regularly, but I'll make sure that I email the board a copy of these reports on Friday. But they are available online at any time. And so we're going to start with our regular quarterly financial update. And Ms. Anna Durham, our Chief Financial Officer, is going to come up and share a few highlights from their report.
Good morning. Good morning. Today I'd like to go over a few highlights from our first quarterly report for fiscal year 2025. As a reminder, this report can be accessed through today's agenda and on our website. All right, first I'd like to thank Mason Romo, who is in 8th grade at Rich Middle School, for the artwork on the cover of our report. This will be a permanent feature on this quarterly report and will also appear on the cover of our fiscal year 2025 audited financial report. The quarterly report is built around our major governmental funds, which includes the general fund, special revenue, capital projects, and debt service funds. It also includes numerous supplemental reports and points of information related to position control, enrollment, procurement, budget, grants, donations, and asset disposal. The asset disposal listing can be found as a point of information attached to today's agenda. And then I'll be going over just a few highlights this morning, but I encourage everyone to take a look at the full quarterly report that can be found attached to today's agenda and on our website. First, I'd like to touch on a few highlights from the general fund, which begins on page 4 of the report. With 25% of the budget year elapsed, we are trending as expected. So you'll see for our general fund revenue trend, we have a negative 8.3% variance to budget, which is slightly higher than the 3-year average of a negative 8.8%. All right, and then in expenditures, we have spent almost 25% of our budget, and we have a 0.2% variance to budget compared to 1% in prior year and the 3-year average of 1.3%. Great, and then for fund balance, we currently have enough to cover 0.6 months of budgeted expenditures. And then for special revenues, specifically our grants, we have 36 grant awards over $10,000 totaling almost $64.6 million, with the QBE categorical grants being the largest and accounting for 66% of all our grants. And then we also report local school activity and school nutrition in the special revenue section of our quarterly report starting on page 7. And then next I'd like to go over a few highlights from our capital projects and debt service funds, which begins on page 13 of the report. Looking at SPLOST 6, collections began in April 2021 and are currently projected to end in June of 2025, which is almost 1 year early. SPLOST 6 proceeds in the 2020 bond issuance have funded capital projects totaling $69.2 million, debt service of $39.4 million, and has an ending fund balance of $33.4 million. You'll also see at the bottom of this slide the project SPLOST 6 has helped fund. And we have not started collecting on SPLOST 7 yet, but anticipate those collections to begin in July 2025 once collections for SPLOST 6 have ended. All right, and then for debt service, which begins on page 20 of the report, You will see we have 3 bonds, with 2 of them being refunded bonds with a cumulative savings of $11 million. For fiscal year '25, combined debt service payments are $13.8 million, and with $81.4 million being outstanding for bond principal payments at the beginning of the year.
So I cheated here, and I slipped in a slide on Anna. The board had asked this back during the retreat. I thought we could just touch on it real quick. It would be a good time to do that. As she mentioned there, that's sort of a timeline of all of our, of SPLOST and also our debt service. The top line there, she's already mentioned, is to when SPLOST 6 ends, and the bond issue that's related to that, when that ends as well. The second, or the next line there, the gray line there, is our total debt service. That's both bond issues related to SPLOST, and then also our legacy debt there. You see that goes out to 2033. And then as she mentioned, SPLOST 7 there, we'll start with collections in July, we anticipate. And then this is really the question I think the board had asked at that time was, when do we expect to issue bonds related to SPLOST 7? And the answer to that is going to be in the first quarter of next year. And that's actually why I think it says Q1 up there. So our anticipation is to borrow then. There's just a lot of reasons why we would wait to do that. That does not mean, though, that these projects, as you're going to hear in a few minutes from Mr. Carey, there are still projects in SPLOST 7 that are moving forward. We just have the ability to fund that through cash flow or through fund balance until summer of next summer, when our fund balance starts to decline again. Remember, this is reports as of September. So you saw September's fund balance down at like 2 weeks, right? I mean, it got down to really, really low. And of course, by now, those initial collections have started to come in on property taxes, so our fund balance has gone back up. So we have the fund balance available to go ahead and start some of these projects in anticipation of that bond issue. And so some of the projects we have moved forward on, the things we have to balance as far as the bond issue is, and if, just so y'all understand, if we were to borrow the full $100 million today, if we were to issue bonds for the full $100 million, based on the current rates that we would have to issue those bonds at, we would pay $125 million in debt service. So it would cost us about $25 million. So SPLOST 7 is a finite amount of money, so that's coming out of SPLOST 7. So we have an incentive to try to minimize that as much as possible, which is why we're using cash flow and why we're not issuing those bonds until the first quarter. Everything's queued up and ready to go, but we're just trying to be really strategic about it and do it as efficiently as we can. And there's a lot of rules related to that. As far as having, there's rules related to arbitrage, as to how quickly the money has to get spent. So there's a lot to consider related to that. How many issues are we going to do? Are we going to do, one large issue? Or are we going to do multiple issues, which is kind of where we're leaning, but there's a cost to that, to doing multiple issues. So there's just a lot of things going into that decision, but I really just mainly wanted to let the board know that we are moving forward, and that will happen. We will bring you something in the first quarter of next year. So yeah, and again, we'll touch on a couple of these projects here in just a few minutes, but I believe that's the last slide, right? So,
And then we've got allotments.
oh,
that I'll
yep,
hand
sorry. Then moving on to allotments and then HR. Sorry.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, no, you're good. And then next we have allotments and vacancies. Our role is that of position control, ensuring we don't overhire throughout the year. And then I'll hand it over to Ms. Gavant to go over vacancies in a little more detail.
Thank you, Ms. Durham.
I only have 2 slides, and they're pretty short. I know as we closed out FY24, I came to you guys with some great news as we were closing out where we were posed in position going into the first quarter and start of the new school year. So this was and this is anticipation, I guess then was anticipation of this moment to really reflect what we were hoping to see and projected. So as we close out the first quarter, we have a 2.4% vacancy, which is, I know we come every month and look at it, but Michelle, will you go to the next slide for me? So this just lets you know where we are visually compared to where we were the past 3 years. And so we are in a much better spot. We have significantly fewer vacancies, and especially when we look at that first day of school, what we showed across the district was around a 2% vacancy rate, but classroom impact was less than 1%. And by that just means that there may have been a para or teacher that we didn't have in place full-time, but there was coverage. So this is a lot better position that we've been in years past. And just can't say enough that that really is reflective of the work that our schools have done with our culture and climate and retention, as well as our transportation department, and what they've done to work on, because their numbers were extremely, extremely low, and everything was available to be filled on day one. So like I said, just 2 slides, but some really great news, and we certainly hope this continues as we move throughout the year. Do I have this? Thank you.
Of course, we'll answer any questions the board has today, but I also wanted to mention that we're going to start hosting a breakout session before the following board meeting. So at 4:45 on the 19th of November, these guys are going to be available in the board's conference room. And if you want to come by and just, they're going to show up with their quarterly reports, all eager and excited to answer any questions you have. They're not going to do any kind of presentation or anything. They're just there to kind of ask if you guys want to dive a little deeper in the data and dig around in the report a little bit with them. I know they would be very excited about that. So that's available, but if there's no questions this morning, we will move on to the next quarterly report, which is Mr. Carey. Doug Carey is our Executive Director of Facilities. He's going to come up and share a little bit about our newly minted quarterly report for capital projects.
Good morning, board members and Mr. Barnett. Yes, so we've got a quarterly report on the capital projects here, and I'm going to try to go, there's a lot of projects, and I'm going to try to go as quickly as possible. Remember that you have a report that has a lot more information in it than I'm going to speak on today, so I'm going to reference back and forth to that. So the overview here is we've got some active projects, which we consider those to be the projects that are under construction. And then there's many more projects that are in the works that are not active, which we call, that are not under construction, we call active. Those are in design or procurement. And then there's other projects and future capital projects. All of these are explained in detail in your report here. So I'm going to dive in. Oh, oh, I'm hitting the wrong button. That's what it is. Okay. So active projects, those projects under construction, there's 3 of them right now. North Paulding High School, North Side, and Roberts. And the green column there, completed, that's what we're driving towards. Those are the completion dates that we're working towards. North Paulding High School. So quick update. There's more information in your report on page 6, but basically the outside is weather tight. Now that the HVAC is functioning inside, the name of the game is get the finishes in. So all of the work above the ceilings is inspected and ready to go. We'll be covering up the ceilings, working our way down from the 3rd floor down to the 1st floor. And with the heating and air running, we'll be able to run the flooring and all the final finishes and equipment and that sort of thing. So exterior, you're going to see canopies, sidewalks, final paving, looking at before the end of the year, December 2024, weather permitting, of course. So a couple photographs for you. You might be able to see it better in your report, but the building is really wrapping up on the outside. From the outside, most of the finishes look like they're complete. Some shots of the inside, you know, the ceilings and all of that stuff, all of the hard work is above the ceiling. And so now that that's done and inspected, soon you will have the finishes going. And then let's go on to the next project, North Side Elementary. Moving along very well on that project as well. All the work underneath the floor is complete, inspected, installed, footings, foundations, pipes, electric work. The floor slab is poured. Block walls are under construction above the slab. Other work on the site will continue. We're not complete with the site yet, but concentrated at the building, it is complete. Roof framing is expected to come along around winter break. So got a few pictures of this for you. So you can see the slab, the rectangular slab there, and those are block walls in various states of underway. So the dry weather is helping us. Excited about that. All right, next project, Roberts. There was an addition and a renovation going on at Roberts. The renovation is complete. I'm really here to report on the addition portion. It's on page 8. Roberts had quite a significant amount of site work that had to be done before the footings and the foundations could go. We had to move the bus loop out of the way so that the addition could go on the school. So it doesn't appear that they're the same place as Northside, but they're working hard and they are on schedule. So the bus loop is relocated, but now it's the laydown space for the contractor. So they're going to continue to use the bus loop until we can get that completed, but our final pave and turned over to them. But that is the hard part is done. It's built and it's there. The foundations are in the process, and I'm going to show you a picture or two in just a minute. Foundations are there. The reinforcements there, and the underground utilities are in various states of being there right now, and they're really close to being able to pour the concrete slabs. They anticipate that in the next few weeks. So, and then after that, the steel package will be delivered, and they're looking at steel to be in December, beginning to work in December. So, same kind of model. They're trying to have it roofed in time for the really tough winter months. So a couple pictures here for you. There's the inside of the completed renovation. And then on the exterior, so you can see they've got the foundations dug in and the reinforcement there, and a lot of the underground utilities ready to go in. So we're just waiting for some concrete, and that'll be happening very, very soon.
So Doug,
Okay.
real quick before you jump to the upcoming,
Yeah, oh.
I know all three of y'all, I hope y'all noticed all three of those said on budget and on schedule.
Yes, okay, yes.
But
yes,
yeah,
that's
anyway, I
right.
just thought I'd mention that. And then
They're
we'll
moving
be-
along as expected.
And sometime soon, we'll be talking about our ribbon cutting plans for the North Paulding addition.
Yes.
That'll be coming your way soon.
And to that question, once it's supposed to be sometime in the middle of the semester, right? So in the middle of the semester, are we gonna go ahead and move in to start using it?
We absolutely will. It will not sit there dormant or empty.
Okay.
It may not be used quite the way it will be in August.
Yes.
Because they'll have to work through all the logistics.
To the extent that we can, we will. So, yes. Okay, upcoming capital projects. These are those projects that are not under construction, but that are well underway in the design work. We have a new elementary school we call elementary school number 20, and then we have renovations at Moses Middle School and Poole Elementary School. No pictures to show you. It's not under construction yet, but they're well underway in design. And you can see the completed dates. You know, those are what we're shooting for. More information on page 9, of course. And then a little bit more information on those projects here on this slide. The elementary school number 20, it's going to be a school with about 54 instructional units. We've got an architect as of March of 24, and they've been working hard on it. And the construction manager was approved in September. The two of them are working hand in hand on this. We think anticipate GMP that will be turned into you very soon will be around the 35 million range. And that school is scheduled to open in August of 26. Moses Middle School, again, scheduled completion 25, August. Architect, same story here. Architect was in May, construction manager October, GMP December or January. So it'll be coming very soon to you. And similar, Poole is really on that same exact schedule. So, all right.
So I was going to mention real quick, Doug, just because I had a couple of questions beforehand. So the next category is future capital projects in the report, which, by the way, the report is as of September. So some of these future capital projects are now shifted into the design procurement phase. One of them is the multipurpose buildings. Again, more information, even a design in the quarterly report, but that design is complete at this point. And now we're starting sort of the procurement phase, and we'll try to make some decisions about whether we go with a construction manager at risk
That's right.
or just bid it out. But we expect to bring a contract to the board in early 2025, correct?
Yes.
And with construction sometime starting in the spring of '25, and anticipate completion of all 5 schools by the end of next calendar year, correct? By December.
That's correct. That's
Okay.
correct. To the best we know.
And, yeah, I know, there's a lot of things dependent on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the best we know right now. Turf and lighting, just so you know, another one that is now moving into the design and procurement phase. In fact, it'll be going to procurement soon, I believe. The timeline for that is it's based on, we are basing which school, and step in, Doug, if you've got more commentary here, but basically what schools get the new turf is dependent on a lot of things, the age, the condition. We went through a certain order back in back when we originally put them down, there was an order, and so we're kind of following that, but also, again, considering conditions. So if that holds, north and south both would be the first to see replacement of their turf, but at the same time, the other 3 high schools are going to be getting
The lighting.
right?
Yes.
The LED.
That's right.
The LED
So that
lighting.
somebody gets something every year. That's right.
Great. And then the other one I was going to mention is just South Paulding High School, which is in design phase now as well.
That's
So that is going to be a probably our largest renovation we've ever done at the school district. So we anticipate that work to actually start sometime in the fall of next year, right? But most of the work to be done over the next 2 summers after that. I think.
Yeah, it's a 2-summer project
Yeah.
for sure. That's right.
Have we communicated that timeline through the feeder pattern communication channels that we have?
I would say to various stages. I think we're at the point where we need to start doing that.
Yeah, and so to elaborate just a little bit, we just got an architect involved, so we're really at the very beginning stage. So we're at the point where we would be doing that, yes.
I kind of pushed them a little hard to get those dates.
Yeah.
So they're now committal. They're now committed.
Maybe
So-
we at least say down through those channels that the renovation's coming and the timeline that you just gave us. I mean, obviously, it's out there now, so
Yeah.
maybe we put that through the feeder pattern, so at least they know what's going on down there, that they're up next, because, you know, they were vocal back during SPLOST to make sure that they were taken care of, and so I think we owe them a phone call, so to speak.
Yep. We,
Thank you, Doug.
Yeah, no
yeah,
problem. Thank
thanks.
you.
There was one other I was going to mention is elementary school 21. Again, it's in the report, but our plans are to have a community meeting in the spring out there in the south to talk about elementary school number 21 as well. So thank you, Doug.
For number 20, I know we're still kind of in the design phase. If I'm not mistaken, that's the one that's going to go on the same property as Crossroads Middle. Are we looking at like a similar type special needs area like Crossroads Middle has? It's a scaled down version for like the elementary schools, or like the specialized like Crossroads has that special needs area in the very front?
Yes, there's a suite, a special needs suite, and right now in the design, we situated it in a cove in the building where there would be a special little play area, you know, for the elementary school age special needs kids that would be kind of exclusive for them. So we think that'll be a win.
Perfect.
Yeah.
But
At the elementary school, it would not have a shower in it because the kids are much smaller, but it will be equipped with their own bathroom and that sort of thing, so they don't have to go out and around, that kind of thing.
And so your next quarterly report, you'll be able to show a design at that
That's
point,
right.
right? I mean, you're really far down the road on the design.
Yes.
We can show that next time, yeah.
Yes.
Great. Thank you,
Okay.
Doug. Again, he'll be available 4:45 on the
Yes.
19th. He'll
That's
be
right.
with bated breath,
That's right.
excited to talk about anything you guys
Any
want
more
to talk about.
questions? All right, thank you.
Well, hey, actually, Doug, before you run off, we're actually moving on to some of our presentations for approval next on the 19th. But we want to present some items today. We'll start with Doug, who's got a plethora of construction-related.
Yes. So we'll talk about DOE process now. These next couple of items are really nothing new. It's similar to previous items we brought before the board before. And it's really, the first three have to do with resolutions, and that's really to align DOE paperwork with the actual scope of the work that got built so that we can follow the DOE process. So I'm going to read off some details here. If it sounds confusing, just know that, it's just to align paperwork with the actual work. So the details of this first one for Dobbins Middle School is, Paulding County Board of Ed submitted an FY22 capital outlay application before we had an architect for Dobbins Middle School facility 0297 that included replacement of a standing seam roof on metal roofing on buildings 4010 and 4020. Paulding County School District did not replace that standing seam metal roofing on buildings 4010 and 4020 as originally anticipated, because it was later determined by further inspection that the standing seam metal roof areas could be restored with a comparable lifespan in lieu of total replacement, which would result in significant cost savings. So those areas of the flat roofing on buildings 4020 and 4010 were fully replaced with new PVC roofing also. So the resolution is to withdraw the replacement of the standing seam metal roofing to amend the contract. So this is a DOE process, and this is a DOE, there's a DOE form that goes along with this. So the recommendation is to approve the Georgia Department of Education resolution to the capital outlay application for Dobbins Middle School. And if there are no questions on that, the very next item is the exact same thing for a different school. So I'm gonna read this off. This one is Roberts Elementary School. Thank you.
Yeah, Doug, don't feel like you got to read the whole thing again if it's identical.
Okay, it is the same thing. It is
unless you guys want to.
Unless you would like to.
I don't want to step
Okay.
in.
All right, then we'll speed up the process. The next one is for Baggett Elementary School, and it's similar, but it has to do with other equipment besides roofing, but it is in essence the same idea. The DOE, I'll go ahead and read this one since it is different. Paulding County Board of Education submitted an FY state capital outlay application for Baggett Elementary School, number 0103, that included replacement of kitchen serving line and replacement of the bus canopy prior to hiring of an architect. During the review of the architectural drawings submitted at a later date, the DOE determined that neither of these scope items would qualify for their funding. So the resolution is to withdraw those items from the serving line and the canopy to amend the contract. So that's essentially what the item is, and that's the recommendation, is to sign and approve this resolution. Okay. If there are no questions, the next one is another DOE process. Again, this has to do with the architect's contract. This is called the mandatory addendum. Whenever you have capital outlay funding received for a project, the DOE forces the school district to include this thing called a mandatory addendum into the architect's contract, and it defines what the budget is going to be. Now, this is before the architect's involved, and this is before a lot of detailed knowledge is known about the project. So the mandatory addendum, so the details of this are, the mandatory addendum is a state Georgia Department of Education requirement to receive capital outlay funds. The addendum must be signed at the time the architect is hired to perform the design work prior to the architect's in-depth understanding of the project scope and complexity. The original architect contract and mandatory addendum signed on September 7th, 2023, Paulding County School District forecasted the stated cost limitation as $5.3 million. As the architect's progress developed, it was later determined that with the assistance of the construction manager, that additional funding would be required to complete the scope of work requested by Paulding County School District. The new stated cost limitation is specified as $6,429,097. So the recommendation for this item is to approve to amend the mandatory addendum to the owner-architect contract for Baggett Elementary School, contract number 25-710-001.
Again, that work has all been completed. This is just
Yes.
the paperwork
This is
following.
to align the paperwork with the work that was
Baggett is
completed.
complete.
Yes, that's right.
And the last one.
Okay, and the last one, the easiest one is last here. So this one is to close out Allgood Elementary School project so that we can receive the remainder of the capital outlay funding. So the recommendation here is to approve, to adopt the resolution to certify that all accounts for labor, materials, and services for the renovation/modification for Allgood Elementary School, project number 22 LW-710-002, have been paid in full, and that there are no claims of any nature outstanding, either liquidated or disputed.
Good deal.
And that concludes the resolutions.
Well, we've got a week to ask any kind of follow-up questions.
That's
But thank you, Doug. 4 resolutions and an addendum. And then I think Mr. Crowder is going to add one to the mix.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Doug.
Thank you.
So all 6 of these items, including Cole's procurement item here, will be on the consent agenda for the 19th board meeting.
Yep, good morning, everyone. Today we just have one item for presentation, and this morning it's our renewal of our request for proposal for liquefied petroleum gas and equipment, which was RFP 17-16-811.01. This contract was originally awarded to AmeriGas Propane for the initial 1-year term that began in December of 2016. The 2021 amendment approved by the board provided for an additional 6 1-year options for renewal with proven quality, performance, and price, and this will be the 4th option of renewal. And again, like Mr. Barnett said, this recommendation will be placed on the agenda for November 19th. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Crowder. And the one item that's left, which will be a standalone item for a recommendation on the 19th, is the board's legislative priorities for 2025. We've provided this to the board already. There's been no change, but we're just going through our typical process. It's out there, and just want to present it this morning and again make a recommendation for approval on the 19th. And so that is everything of our presentations this morning, Madam Chair.
All right, we've come to the time where we need to adjourn to executive session to discuss personnel, student discipline, land, and legal matters. No votes will be taken except to approve our executive session minutes. Do I have a motion to adjourn to executive session? So moved by Ms. Lyons, second by Mr. Nolan. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? It is unanimous. We are adjourned to executive session. All right, we are back in session, returning from our executive session where no votes were taken, with the exception of the approval of our minutes. We discussed personnel, student discipline, land, and legal. And we are reconvening, and I'm going to turn it over to you for action items.
All righty, we have 2 action items this morning. The first is a request for approval of the personnel report presented this morning, which includes items 1 through 36.
Hearing the superintendent's recommendation for the approval of personnel items 1 through 36, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Wow.
Second.
I'm going to do Mr. Chester on that motion and the second by Ms. Lyons. Any discussion? I think we're all in favor, but let's make that official. It's unanimous.
And the second action item is regarding Tribunal Appeal Number 1. I recommend the decision of the disciplinary tribunal be upheld.
Hearing the superintendent's recommendation to uphold the decision by the disciplinary committee for the Tribunal Appeal Number 1, do I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Chester,
Second.
second by Mr. Nolan. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? It is unanimous. The recommendation is upheld.
And that's all I have. And I do not believe we have anyone signed up.
No one signed up to speak today? All right, so no public participation. We are at board member comments. And I believe that Mr. Chester is scheduled to go first, so we will start with you, Mr. Chester.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I would like to say thank you to everyone that served our nation, participated in the ceremonies around the county, around the state, and around the nation. Thankful for that. Thankful for everyone that served in our community. I personally received a ton of invites, and I couldn't attend everything, and I'm thankful that I was asked, and real proud of everyone and folks in our community. I also want to say thank you to our resource officers, to the Sheriff's Department, to everyone that's been out and about lately. I've noticed a strong presence around our schools, and as we get into this time of year, get into the holidays, there's a lot more traffic, a lot more people out and about, so just caution everyone to be careful, be safe. Time change happened, and we're still striving to finish up this semester and make it to the finish line, so thank you.
The only thing I really wanted to say is I really appreciate our finance department and what an excellent job that you guys do in the presentation that you gave us today. But also, I know that we have our audits coming up, and they're working very, very hard. And with all of our audits in the recent years, we've all had excellent responses, and we have achieved pretty much perfect record consistently. And that's due to the hard work of our CFO and her team. And I just want to commend you guys for the great work that you're doing. And that's about it for today.
Other than my normal ditto, definitely thank the veterans. But I did also want to remind everyone that our next scheduled board meeting is next Tuesday. It was voted to move that meeting up a week because of the Thanksgiving holiday, so don't forget, we will be back here next Tuesday evening at 5:30.
At 4:45.
Well, and at 4:45, if you guys want to come early at 4:45 to get some additional answers. Otherwise, we'll be here at 5:30.
I just want to say good luck to our football teams that are traveling this weekend, and to the staff and bus drivers that are traveling with the kids, that everybody has a safe and fun trip, win or lose, that they have a good time. And just another thank you as far as veterans go to Mr. Dean, Mr. Chester. Thank you guys for your service. And thank you to the staff for all your presentations this morning. Looks like the facilities, we're going to have a busy next several years ahead of us if we haven't already. So that's all I have.
I'm just going to say ditto because there's not anything else to say. Everyone's already said it, so just have a great day.
I would say ditto, but everybody else has taken that up. I do wish everybody around happy Thanksgiving, have a safe Thanksgiving, and thank you for all the compliments and accolades for the veterans. It was fun most of the time.
All right, we have now come to the point where I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Nolan, second by Mr. Clayton. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? We are adjourned.